Political leader of Hamas, Ismail Haniyeh, has been killed in Iran. That's according to statements from Hamas and Iran's Revolutionary Guard. Iran state TV is also reporting he's been assassinated in the capital. According to the Revolutionary Guard, Haniyeh and one of his bodyguards were killed in a strike on the building in Tehran where they were staying. He was in the capital meeting President Masoud Pezeshkian ahead of his inauguration. So these are the latest pictures of that meeting in Tehran on Tuesday. He then attended Pezeshkian's swearing-in ceremony. Iran says it's investigating the killing of Ismail Haniyeh. Well, Al Jazeera's Julide Ayger takes a look back at Ismail Haniyeh's life and the events which shaped him into one of the most prominent Palestinian political figures.
This is what happened to the Al-Shati refugee camp in northern Gaza during Israel's war in 2023. It's where Ismail Haniyeh was born. He was the son of Palestinian parents who were forcibly displaced from their home in what is now Ashkelon after the State of Israel was created in 1948. Haniyeh experienced firsthand the challenges faced by millions of Palestinians in their search for statehood. But his future and influence would turn out to be different than most.
Americans take responsibility for giving unlimited cover to this enemy to commit to these massacres, war crimes, and genocide.
In 1987, Haniyeh graduated from the Islamic University of Gaza. The same year, a Palestinian mass uprising began against Israel's occupation, also known as the First Intifada. In its efforts to liberate Palestine, the group Hamas was founded, and among its younger members, Ismail Haniyeh. His journey would soon become linked to the rise of the Palestinian group. Israel imprisoned Haniyeh several times for taking part in protests against the occupation. After serving his longest 3-year sentence, he was deported to southern Lebanon along with hundreds of Hamas members. Haniyeh returned to Gaza in 1993 after the signing of the Oslo Accords and became a close confidant of Sheikh Ahmed Yassin, the founder of Hamas. Together, they survived an Israeli assassination attempt, though Yassin was killed months later. His rise to prominence came in 2006, when Hamas participated in the Palestinian legislative elections. The group won a parliamentary majority, making Haniyeh Prime Minister of the Palestinian Authority. But his appointment angered the international community, who halted aid to the PA, placing the governing body under severe financial strain. Hamas is classified by many Western nations as a terrorist organization. Months of conflict between factions led to President Mahmoud Abbas dismissing Haniyeh and dissolving his government. This would result in an independent Hamas-led government in the Gaza Strip, headed by Haniyeh.
This seizure should not break our will and should not turn this conflict into an internal Palestinian conflict, and that conflict should be against the parties that impose the siege against the Palestinian people.
In 2019, having voluntarily stepped down, Haniyeh left Gaza and began living abroad, for which he faced substantial scrutiny. Haniyeh faced criticism for his absence from the Strip during Israel's war on Gaza in 2023. He led Hamas's diplomacy from a number of locations as civilians were massacred in the Strip. Ismail Haniyeh's influence on the history and politics of Palestine will likely stay for years to come. And for many, he will remain a symbol of resistance in the face of occupation and adversity.
Hamas has released a statement on its official website. It says, brother, leader and martyr Ismail Haniyeh, the head of the movement, has been killed in a treacherous Zionist raid on his residence in Tehran after participating in the inauguration ceremony of the new Iranian president. And Iran's Revolutionary Guard has also released a statement saying early this morning the residence of Ismail Haniyeh in Tehran was struck, resulting in his and one of his bodyguards' martyrdom. The cause is under investigation and will be announced soon. So those two statements there coming from Hamas and the Iranians. Let's get more now with our correspondent Imran Khan. He joins us live on the set here. Imran, you've been covering the war in Gaza since it started. You've been over in occupied East Jerusalem for quite some time. You're back with us here now. Nothing yet from the Israelis, but the finger's being pointed at them.
Absolutely, but there will be nothing from the Israelis officially. Now, there's precedent for this. Remember in April, when the IRGC commander in Damascus was hit by Israel, there was a response from Iran, an unprecedented response. Drones and missiles from Iranian territory fell in Israeli territory. We'd never seen that before. The difference is that this was very well telegraphed by the Iranians. They calculated this response and they took place knowing that it wouldn't escalate and that would draw a line under that particular episode. However, the Israelis have said to the Americans that we have told you that we are going to do this. So the Americans apparently, according to Israeli local media, were aware that this was going to be happen. So we've got to talk about the calculation here. Hitting a Hamas leader in Tehran, it doesn't matter how they hit that particular building, the location matters far more than anything else. And now it's about seeing what Israel says next. Now, we, like I say, won't get an official confirmation of this, but we are getting the cultural minister, for example, saying this is a good thing. And there'll be dribs and drabs throughout the day, low-level cabinet ministers, politicians saying this is an amazing thing, this is what we wanted for. This plays into Netanyahu's hands. He is now able to say, we are going after Hamas politically and militarily, which is the goals of the war for him. But he was doing that in Gaza. He wasn't doing it in international territory. This is going to be a very concern, a real concern to Istanbul, which has hosted Hamas leaders in the past, Qatar, Doha, which has hosted Hamas leaders in the past, including Ismail Haniyeh, who was here. I think he only left in July 2023, I think. So this is a real concern for everyone. But we've got to understand, we've got to try and figure out why Israel thought that this right now
was a good idea.
So
that brings me nicely, Imran, to what's the broader message from Israel here? I mean, we saw that attack yesterday in Beirut, claiming they'd killed a senior Hezbollah commander. Hezbollah haven't said anything yet. They've neither confirmed nor denied it. Now we have the political leader of Hamas, Ismail Haniyeh, being killed on Iranian soil. That's a huge leap, as you're talking about now, this kind of broader regional implication. What is the broader message from the Israelis here?
Well, the Israelis thing is going to be very simple, and you'll hear it throughout the day. We can get these people where they live. It doesn't matter if they're in occupied territory or if they're wherever they are internationally. And that's the message the Israelis unofficially will push. Let's see what the official response is. Let's see what Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says later on in the day when he makes a statement. He might not talk about Haniyeh completely officially, but he will talk about the fact that this is a good thing. And I think the talking points that the Israeli politicians are getting from the Prime Minister's office are going to be pushing the fact that this is a good thing for Israel, but without officially saying, we've done this. Now, it's about the escalation and where this goes next and the Iranian response. Like I said, in April, there was a strike, very well telegraphed, from Iranian territory into Israeli territory. I was there for that. I saw those rockets come in from Iranian territory. The Israelis didn't respond directly to that, but the Iranians are now got to figure out how to calculate a response.
And that's the worry, is what sort of response now could we see from the Iranians, given this much telegraphed response to when their senior commander was killed in Syria. But this is likely to be a huge concern now as to how Iran responds.
It is, but there is another precedent for this. Remember Qasem Soleimani in January 2023? He was assassinated in Baghdad by the US under the Trump administration. The Iranians didn't respond to that particularly directly to the Americans. The Israelis will be saying, we might be able to get away with this because of Qasem Soleimani. But Qasem Soleimani, Mohammad Reza Zahedi in Syria, and now Haniyeh, Tehran really does actually have to do something vocal and direct. Now, it might be through Hamas, it might be through Hezbollah. I've got a different calculation right now. Like you say, their senior commander was killed yesterday. So there is a lot of calculations going on. When this kind of escalation happens, miscalculation is the bigger danger than response. If one of those groups miscalculates and hits something that they shouldn't or they didn't want to, or Israel miscalculates and does something that it really didn't want to do but has done, then that's where real problems will happen.
What do you think this means now then, Imran, for hopes of any kind of ceasefire? I mean, this now seems to be getting further and further away, given Israel's expansion of the conflict.
Well, I mean, let's just go back to the ceasefire. Just a few months ago, US President Joe Biden was very clear, there's an Israeli-approved ceasefire deal on the table. That never came to fruition. The Israelis were very surprised by this. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said, "Oh, what, we gave you this three-phase plan." The Biden administration announced saying that this was going to end the war in Gaza. It was going to end the war in Gaza. It wasn't just a temporary ceasefire. That's all gone away. Every time we get close to a deal, whether it's in Cairo, whether it's in Qatar, whether it's in the US, the Prime Minister of Israel says, no, actually, we're changing the terms of this. This is very frustrating for Hamas, who have agreed to a ceasefire. And then the Israelis say, well, actually, no, this is all Hamas's fault. Yeah. They aren't doing it.
And that's interesting because Hamas was saying just yesterday that the Israelis again have changed the terms of the proposed ceasefire.
Yeah, exactly. And this keeps going on and on. The only way we are going to avoid any kind of miscalculation, any kind of escalation in the latest round of this war, which is, in a different phase today than it was yesterday, let's be absolutely honest about that, we're in a different phase now, is a comprehensive ceasefire in Gaza. That's the only way that Hezbollah are going to step down, it's the only way Hamas are going to step down, and it's the only way that the Americans are going to be able to push for reconstruction in Gaza and anything that they might want to be able to do. But right now, the Americans are backing Israel, and Israel isn't going for a ceasefire deal.
As you say, things are going to get worse before they get better. Imran Khan, there. Always good to get your insight and analysis. Imran, thank you.
Make sure to subscribe to our channel to get the latest news from Al Jazeera.